This is controversial, and Egyptian governments have been hesitant to allow geneticists to test remains from ancient Egypt out of fear that it would cause others to question whether they are the true Egyptians. A few things to remember is that the Egyptian Empire was massive, and Middle Egypt is not necessarily a proxy for all of Egypt. Further, these are mummified remains, and the vast majority of Egyptians could not afford such lavish burials, so we are looking only at the elite class, which is not necessarily genetically indicative of the average Egyptian. Moreover, these are just mummified remains overall and not just pharaohs. However, the pharaohs generally came from the upper classes. A final consideration is that at different points in Egyptian history, pharaohs arose in southern Egypt and at other times in northern Egypt. The dynasties in these two regions likely had different genetic components, and the individuals likely looked quite differently from each other, as the distance between the two is about equal as the difference between the Levant and Greece. Nevertheless, it's fair to say based on the evidence that we have at our disposal that the descendants of the pharaohs are likely to be modern-day Iraqis, Syrians, Spaniards, Cretans, Turks, Jordanians, Lebanese and to a lesser extent, Jews and not Egyptians. It's unlikely any of their direct descendants are remaining. One thing to consider is most pharaohs tended to be the descendants of brother-sister intercourse, and they suffered from a litany of genetic ailments. The lack of genetic admixture would mean that they didn't build resistances to many diseases and plagues, and any descendants that remained as little as 1,000 years ago are very likely to have been annihilated by any number of plagues.